So here we go. 3 reasons why TLX from a business perspective. Number 1, I saw this as an opportunity for growth within my organization. Number 2, I saw this as a way to create retention within the organization. And then number 3, I saw this as a way where we could have amazing culture. Now let's talk about each one of these in depth. Let's talk about each one of these individually. So let's talk about growth. Growth in the travel industry, growth with TLX, and growth within you and your I Am business. So the travel industry is booming. People say, hey, Cruiser, how is business? Here's the answer. Business is booming. That's the answer to the question every single time. The travel industry is projected to be an $8.7 trillion industry by the end of 2023. It's only gone up and it's only going to continue to go up. And why is that? Answer is everybody wants to travel. One of the people I studied the most, Bob Proctor, he breaks down the law of compensation. And the very first part of it is there a need for what you do? Is there a need for TLX? Is there a need for travel? And here's what I found. I found that 85% of people that have a job do not like what it is that they do. And they're looking forward to that vacation at the end of the year, every single year. They're looking forward to spending time with their friends and with their family. They're looking forward to when you go out there and when you're in other companies, not just our company and not just our industry and other companies, guess what? When you go out there and you have a lot of success and you break records, what do they award you with? They award you with trips. They award you with free travel because everybody wants to travel, right? Now, on top of that, it's one of the fastest growing platforms in IM. You know, obviously with this promotion that we just did, which is absolutely insane, by the way, 5,000 new members have joined the Academy literally within the last week because of the promotion that we just did. And let me tell you guys something. It wasn't the promotion that did that. It was your excitement about the promotion that created that wave of thousands and thousands of people to come into the business. And if you maintain that level of excitement, it doesn't matter what the price of the Academy is, people are going to get started a lot quicker, right? But it's one of the fastest growing platforms within the Academy. And also it is a very, very easy pitch. It's very, very easy to talk about. It comes up naturally all of the time. Let me tell you this, when I started with TLX, you know what I said to people? There are 2 things that I said to people. If I was trying to get a customer, I said, hey, I just found is exciting. Something's new. When things are new, they're exciting, right? Hey, I just found a great way to save a ton of money traveling and get a free vacation every single year. You have to check it out. That's it. If I was looking to share this opportunity with other people, I said, hey, if I was looking to, talk to people who I thought would crush it within the business, maybe someone who's business minded, maybe someone who has had a lot of experience in business, then I would say, hey, I just found a great way to save a ton of money traveling and get paid to promote travel. You have to check it out. Now, if you don't want to say you have to check it out, I say stuff like that when I have a good relationship with somebody. The key is you want to assume interest. If you assume someone's interested 9 times out of 10, they're going to be interested. Now, if you want to take a little bit more of an indirect approach, or maybe you don't have such a great relationship with that person, then instead you could say, instead of, hey, you've got to check it out, you could say, hey, I'd love to get your opinion on it. People love to give their opinion. Sometimes people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. And so when you say stuff like, hey, I'd love to get your opinion on it, then they go check it out. And when they see the information, guess what? The information makes sense. If this makes sense so far, drop a 222 in the chat. If that is simple, drop a 222 in the chat box. Let me see if y'all are with me. Cool. Now, Jim Rohn said this, however many decades ago, one of the greatest of all time in the network marketing space. He said, a change in lifestyle is a great recruiting tool. When I went from not traveling at all to traveling every single year, to multiple times a year, to every single month, to multiple times a month, people started to say, hey, how is he doing that, right? What does he do? And it creates what? Massive curiosity. And guess what people are going to do? They're going to reach out to you. Obviously, there's specific things that we can post and can't post. But if you're just living your life and people just see your lifestyle change just a little bit and you're just posting what you're doing on a daily basis, guess what? They're going to reach out to you most of the time. So this is how TLX is going to help you take your business from, okay, I'm focusing on trading and e-commerce. Now I could add this travel to it as well and grow my business, number one. Now let's move on to retention, because sometimes people are so focused on how do I grow my business, and they're not thinking about how do I retain the people that I already have. And I think that one of the best things about trading is this. Trading is one of the most important financial skill sets that you could ever learn. And that's why I got involved back in 2018. However, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of energy. And some people don't have the desire to learn. If you've met somebody that maybe wants to make money, but doesn't have the desire to learn anything, drop a 111 in the chat. Maybe it's just me. I don't know, but let me see. If you've met someone that they want to make more money, but they don't have an hour, 2 hours, a few hours a day to learn the skill set, or maybe they just really, really are intimidated by charts and don't want to do that necessarily, drop a 111 in the chat. There's pros and cons to everything. The pro with trading is the fact that you're learning, like I said, one of the most important skills that you could ever learn. Now, you have to actually learn the skill, and that's going to take time. That's going to take 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, some people 24 months, right? Now, I think that retention is very high with TLX because you actually don't have to learn anything, and people are able to get value from this service without having to actually learn anything, right? So there's pros and cons to everything. Now, on top of that, the value of the free trip. So right now, the last time I checked, I was watching a video that Wes created, the creator of TLX, and he said that we're in negotiations with the Me and Cabo, and for you and another person, the free vacation every single year. He said that if you go on their website right now, I think it's about $2,300 for that trip, for the free annual trip. And he said that every single year they're going to get better. Some of them are going to be worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And when the value of the free trip alone outweighs the cost of the monthly subscription, which is $125 times 12 months, then it is an absolute no-brainer if somebody likes to travel at least once a year, which we've already established most people do, to actually get involved. On top of that, in that same presentation, he actually talked about this. He said that a family of four, if you didn't know, TLX actually covers your entire household. He said a family of four will save roughly about $5 to $6 grand on average if they use all of the TLX components one time. So the free trip, the anniversary trip, the anytime trips, the group trips, the experiences, right? I'm going to go over all 6 of the key components of TLX here in a minute, but if they just use everything once, they could use it as many times as they want. They could use it 10 times, they could use it 100 times, but if they just use each thing once, they would save $6 grand a year every year. And guess what? It's only $1,500. And that doesn't include if people get the 2 and it's free. And that doesn't include if people are sharing the business with other people. So it literally just makes sense. Now, for me, I believe that the empowered packs are key. And so I am building I would say 80% of my business on empowered packages. And the reason why is because it's a win-win. I don't do anything unless it's a win-win. In business, in life, in relationships, I don't think of anything. The only way I think of things is in win-win situations. So what do I mean? Here's what I mean. What I mean is this. It's a win for a customer because let's say someone's involved on one of the trading packages, Forex, crypto, stocks, whatever it is. It's $185 a month. Well, guess what? It's only $65 to add on TLX now because it's $250 a month for the empowered pack. And now they get access to the free trip and they get access to, all the other benefits as well. And so it's the most value for someone's dollar as a customer, but also from a business perspective, guess what? It's 190 volume instead of 150 volume, right? So instead of needing 30 people to hit Platinum 1000, right? It's 20, I don't know the exact number. Someone could do the math for me, but I think it's 23 or 24 people, right? And you could go out there and hit ranks a lot faster with a lot less people. And also the customers getting more value for their dollar. Now, my 2 favorite, there's many, many different options when it comes to the empowered pack. What's been blowing up recently in our group, in different parts of our group, I should say, is this idea of being a travel influencer. There's a lot of that on Instagram. There's a lot of that on TikTok, right? So I get people involved on TLX and SMX together on the empowered pack, or this concept of trade and travel, getting people on FRX and TLX, or DCX and TLX. So those are some of my favorite versions of the empowered pack. People say, hey, how do you create retention? Guess what? Retention is high when value greatly outweighs the cost of whatever it is. Now, let's move on. Number 3 is culture. You want to create an amazing team culture within your group. So think of it like this. Number 1, some of these trips are literally bucket list trips. We're talking about dream trips, like literally, like that you're going out and you have the time of your life, the experience of your life. So not only are you going out there having a lot of fun, changing your life, but you're taking your team with you on these trips. And guess what? Relationships are built from experiences. I could think of the best times of my life, and it's usually when I went on a trip and I had an amazing experience and I was surrounded by amazing people. This last trip, before we went to Zurich in Switzerland for the convention out there in Switzerland, we went to Barcelona and we went to Rome, and we made an entire trip in Europe out of it. And it was one of the best times of my life. Imagine doing that with your team, and imagine the relationships that you're going to build with your team. And guess what? Relationships are the foundation of this business. We've had a lot of people come into the business. We've had a lot of people leave. That's business. There's something called the law of the revolving door. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'll tell you. The law of the revolving door clearly states that people are going to come into the business and people are going to leave the business. That's not the question. The question is, what are the quality of people that are coming? If you have high quality people coming and low quality people leaving, then your business is growing. If you have low quality people leaving and high quality people joining, then your business is expanding. But back to the point. Relationships are the foundation of this business. And we've had a lot of people come and we've had some people leave. And the people that have stayed, the people that are in this thing for life with me, are the ones that I built amazing relationships with. And the ones who ended up leaving, guess what, are the ones that I didn't have the chance to build as good of a relationship with. So this TLX, being able to travel and being able to have fun and being able to get the education, and do all these things on these trips, are going to create an amazing culture for your team. Let's talk about in-person versus Zoom very briefly. We live in a world where people want to do everything on Zoom. We're on Zoom right now, and I'm not opposed to that. And I think Zoom is amazing for expansion. I think that Zoom is amazing because I could hop on a call with someone who's across the world and be able to connect with people that I never would have been able to connect with. But guess what? There is an energy transfer that takes place in person that cannot be explained through words. I would rather do a presentation in person. I would rather do a one-on-one in person. I would rather trade with somebody in person. I would rather have fun with somebody in person. Why? Because there's an energy transfer that takes place in person that cannot be explained through words. And when you're meeting up with your team, that energy is used and it's also multiplied when people come together. And that is where people go out there and do great things. Ultimately, culture multiplies growth and retention. We talked about growth, number 1, retention, and number 2. When you have an amazing culture, people from the outside looking in, they see you having fun, they see you learning, they see you growing, and they want to join because of the culture, and your business is going to grow. And when you have people who are involved and they're experiencing that, then they're going to actually want to stay. One of my favorite quotes also happens to be from Jim Rohn. He said this. He said, "Life is not the passing of time." He said, "Life is the collection of experiences and their intensity." And that is why travel, lifestyle, and experiences make so much sense, because we are giving people new experiences with high emotional intensity, with positive emotional intensity. All right, guys, let's talk about the 6 key components of TLX so you're aware of what they are, number 1. And number 2, so that you know how to effectively communicate them in a simple way to other people. Number 1 is the travel booking site. So when I'm showing people TLX, I pull up the actual website, tlx.travel. And when I pull up the actual website, first thing that they see is what? It's the travel booking site. And I say, hey, you get up to 60% off over 800,000 different hotels, condos, resorts, cruises, rental cars, all things travel. And let me tell you guys this, it's not what you're saying. I'm giving you what to say, and that is important, but that's 20% of the equation. 80% of the equation is your excitement and your certainty. If you're excited, they're going to be excited. If you're certain, they're going to be certain that this is something that they're going to want to do. But when it comes to the words, that's what I say. Hey, travel booking site, up to 60% off over 800,000 different hotels, condos, resorts, cruises, rental cars. And then I'll actually pull up some places that I've been to, or pull up some places that they want to go. I'll say, hey, where was your last trip? Or hey, where's your next trip? All right, perfect. Let's give them real examples of real people saving real money. And then group trips, number 2. Group trips, I tell people this. I say we use the buying power of our members for group discounts, which is also known as a room block, where you are able to block out a bunch of rooms, and you're able to do it for super, super cheap prices. Why? Because you're getting things in bulk, right? And negotiate extras. And so what I like to do is I like to actually talk about the last group trip that took place. I had some other things going on, so I wasn't able to actually be at the last group trip in Vegas, but I talked to half a dozen people that went, and they told me that it was amazing. And they told me about how it was 3 days, 4 nights at the Palms Resort, and how it was one of the nicest resorts out there in Vegas, and how they had the nightlife planned out, and how they had, yes, it was vacation, but also education at the same time. They had, education from, stocks, forex, crypto, for everything. And I literally will explain to people how the group trips grow, how the last group trip went, because when people see, there's something called FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. When you're able to, talk clearly about how amazing the last group trip was, guess what? They're going to, have that FOMO, right? They're gonna be like, dang, I can't miss out on these trips. I need to get involved so I can be at the next one. And I also tell people this, with the group trips, I tell people, hey, we're paying the least, but we're also getting the most. When you get the cheapest prices, for example, like I said, Palms, it was like 3 days, 4 nights for $299, I believe. I might get these numbers slightly off, but I believe it was $299. It's cheaper than the cheapest price that anyone's paying at the hotel. So you're paying less than everyone else, but at the same time, when you're paying less, you usually expect less. You're usually thinking like, maybe I'm getting less than everybody else, but you're also getting the most, because you're also getting the nightlife. You're also getting the education. You're also getting the experiences of that specific trip. Number 3 is anytime trips. And so the way that I explain this is I say this. I say, hey, we create strategic partnerships with hotels, usually 5-star resorts. And what happens is they usually have excess inventory in shoulder season, AKA the slower season. And what they do is, rather than lowering their prices, that'll hurt their retail prices. So guess what they do? They actually partner up with companies like ours and give us crazy deals, sometimes 70% off, sometimes 80% off. Anytime trips, experiences. Now I tell people, hey, there's a whole nother level to TLX. And I tell people that there's deals on luxury experiences, mansions, yachts, exotic car rentals, private jets. If you're the type of person that likes luxury things, then the experiences is for you. Impact trips. I talk about, hey, one of our core values is giving back and helping other people. When you talk about your core values, you're going to attract other people that have those same core values. You're going to attract other good people. And you're also going to repel people that you don't want in your business as well. One of our core values is giving back and helping other people. And we have trips designed to give back to blank, whatever the trip is. Give back to the youth, give back to the less fortunate, give back to people. Impact trips. Then last but not least, the anniversary trip. So you could say, hey, we have a rewards program for our members. And after being a member for 12 months, you get a free annual trip. You get a free trip. When people hear the word free, their ears like perk up, right? Their eyes light up. They're like, free. People love free. And I tell people this. I say that these aren't just any trips. These are bucket list type trips. We asked all of our members within our academy, hey, if you could go anywhere, where is it that you would want to go? What are your bucket list trips? And we planned out the next 10 years. And then I'll actually show them the next 10 years on that list of the trips. And when they see 99% of the time, they're going to see 1 or 2 or a few of their bucket list trips on there. And they're going to say, well, I can get this for free. That is crazy. If it's free, it's for me, right? And so people usually remember the first and last thing that you said. So what I do is, because in my opinion, the travel booking site is one of the most important parts of the key components of TLX. And the anniversary trip is also one of the most important parts of the key components of TLX. I usually talk about the travel booking site first, and I talk about the anniversary trip last. Why do you do that? Answers, because people usually remember the first thing that you said to them, and also they tend to remember the last thing that you said to them. So those should be the most important things when you're discussing this with other people. So what should you do after this? Here's what you should do. You should become a product of the product. Whether it's SMX or ECX or one of the trading academies or TLX, specifically, since we're talking about TLX, you want to become a product of the product. You want to book, your first few trips, book, a hotel immediately. Use that. It's so easy for me to, share this with other people, because people always ask me, hey, how have you been? Hey, what have you been up to? And I'll say, hey, I just got back from Miami a week ago or two, whenever it was, right? Or, hey, I'm about to go here next week, and I'm talking about where I was, and I'm talking about where it is that I'm going, and I'm talking about how I'm doing it for super, super cheap. And they say, hey, how are you doing it? So number one, you got to become a product of the product. This business becomes so simple. I'll never say easy, because it's going to be difficult, but very, 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 very simple when you are a product of the product, number one. And then number two, you just share your story. Share your story about how you've saved a ton of money. Share your friend's story. Share your family story about how they've been able to use TLX and benefit in a positive way. And people always say, hey, it's facts that tell and stories that sell. And that is 100% true. It's the stories that are relatable to people. Literally, I met up with someone yesterday at Starbucks. They reached out to me on Snapchat. They said, and I'm never on Snapchat, so it was interesting, but we were talking on Snapchat and they were saying, hey, your social media has been doing amazing. I've seen you've been traveling a lot. I'd love to hear more about what it is that you do. And so I met up with her, and guess what? I just shared my story, and now she's getting started, right? So become a product of the product, and then share your story wherever it is you go with whoever it is that you meet. So 2 more slides, and then we're done. We announced a handful of days ago, whenever it was, about this TLX qualifications trip in July in Cancun, in Mexico. And I'm just recapping it for you in case you missed it. But anybody who hits P150, P600 is going to be able to attend the trip. Anybody who hits P1000 is not only going to be able to attend the trip, get the excursions, but they're also going to get a VIP dinner with the top income earners in the company and a 7-figure training from the top earners in the company. If you are a brand new P2000 or P5000, then guess what? You're not only going to attend the trip, but you're going to get a travel voucher, basically being able to go out there pretty much for free. All new rank ups must complete this form and send it in. If you're trying to find this form, you can actually go on the the USA Telegram that we created about a week ago, and it's all there as well. And you want to submit any new rank advancements before Sunday, because we're going to do some rank advancement recognition every single week as well. So the question becomes, it's one thing for you to go on a trip like this. It's another when you have an entire army of people that are crushing it with you. When you see your friends and your family there with you, having success alongside you. I promise you that feels a million times better than you being there yourself. So the question becomes, how many people are you going to have with you rank advance for this trip in July? In fact, drop in the chat. I love setting goals. So let's do it right now. Drop in the chat box. How many people are you going to bring with you to this trip in Cancun, in Mexico? It's going to be one of the trips of a lifetime in July. Vaughn said 12 people or 10 people. It's already done. 12 people, 15 plus, 11, 20, 15, 12, 10, 30. You do that, and I promise you, you will experience hyper momentum in your business. Last but not least, most importantly, in literally a month and a half, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if I'm counting right, but I heard the other day it was 45 days. So I'm pretty sure it's 45 days away from the most important event of the year so far in Orlando in March 24th and 26th. Anybody who is super, super, super serious about their business has to be there. People say, hey, are events like this optional? Technically, everything's optional. No one has to be here, right? But my response is not a statement, but a question. My question would be well, do you see your success as optional? And if you see your success as optional, then yes, 100% it is optional. But if you're like, yo, I need to make it happen. I need to win, then you need to be at this event, because I promise you, based off of the lineup that I've seen, this is going to be one of the best events that our academy has thrown, and is going to, like I said, create a lot of momentum for you and for your business, guys. So that's pretty much it. We had a very, very quick training today. However, if you got some value, I want you guys to go back to your guys' chat box on Telegram, on Discord, whatever it is, and just drop one or two things, or the main thing that you learned tonight about either the travel industry or TLX or whatever it is, so that anybody who is at work who wasn't able to make it maybe on this call is able to get some of the value as well. And guys, if you need anything, we are, one big family. I'm here to help out every single person. So if you need me, reach out to me on Instagram. However, I will see each and every single one of you guys on the next call, and I'll see each and every single one of you guys in person at Orlando. So I love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your guys' night. Bye, guys.